The people who were most affected were certainly minorities, but they were also what we consider vulnerable populations. The elderly, in particular, suffered greatly during Katrina. Women were probably the majority group left behind, and small children. People actually died. You can see families really grieving over losing their loved ones, unable to get help. And you see old people, you know, hanging on to their pets. People actually walked 8 and 10 miles when they were dropped off on the interstate. Just left there. Some of them stayed there 4 and 5 days. A girlfriend of mine's aunt, who was 84 years old, walked 8 miles before someone picked them up. Imagine people who were homeless before the storm, what happened to them. Many of them died. And I love this picture because the sister with that hairstyle that I know cost a whole lot of money to get it done is in pain, and that hairstyle, believe me, was gone by the end of the day. We have even the soldiers who came to help us told us, the ones who had just come back from Iraq, that they hadn't seen that much devastation in the war zones in Iraq. They were really just shocked by what they saw. I don't understand this picture, but I'd like to show it. I don't understand it. That's all I can say. Old people and young people. And whenever I see this, it looks like a third world country someplace where people are running from war. They're actually leaving the city because of Katrina. It's the housing projects that are all being torn down. This was the airport. And when we talk about heroes, it's generally these people that we're speaking of. This is a strange sight at the convention center. We're not quite certain what's going on. The people had no water or anything, but the soldiers were sitting there until General Honore came in and made them do something different. People were fainting and falling out. And the children who were taken to safety were taken away from their families with no way for families to find out where they were. And gas prices after Katrina, I think this was in Atlanta, Georgia. We haven't gotten to $6 a gallon yet, at least not in Louisiana. People taking care of animals, not realizing that just below them there's a dead body. People begging to find their children, people watching their loved ones die on the road. Young black guys trying to find a way out. They took a postal truck. They were stopped and taken to jail. They had no transportation. And we all know that's not the fastest way out of the city in a mail truck. This is just some of the devastation. And this is, of course, the Superdome, where people were left. This is what it looked like when people were being put on buses. If you just block out the background, it really looks like we're not in this country at all. The Lower Ninth Ward that everyone talks about, this is what it looked like after the storm. The Lower Ninth Ward, mostly made up of poor black people, but black people who owned their homes. Many of these homes were built by their grandparents and were still standing, but it could not withstand the water. And here's the barge that broke the levee's back. That's what I call it, sitting in the middle of the street. And you can see where the barge actually broke through the levee and just washed away all of the houses that were standing just in front of the levee. The barge was so huge it literally had to be chopped into pieces in order to be removed. They couldn't move it in one piece. This was my church, to make it personal. My church was underwater. This is my school, Dillard University, underwater. This is the tennis court at Dillard University, right behind the levee, underwater. That's the school again, the school and all of the beautiful trees. This is my neighborhood after the storm. This is what it looked like when we dragged all of our belongings out of our houses, so that you understand that it wasn't just the Lower Ninth Ward that was hit. 80% of all people who lost their homes during Katrina were African American. They were poor, they were middle class, they were working class, they were extremely wealthy. It didn't matter what our income was. We all lost everything. There's a hot tub out on the front lawn in my neighborhood. This is a house in my block. All of your furniture was rotted to the core, eaten up by mold. I met some of my neighbors in front of my house. We were all crying, but we tried to pull together. It was about 110 degrees that day, by the way. This is my house. This is inside my house. My living room, dining room, bedroom, my knockoff purse down on the floor that I bought in New York in Chinatown. This is the rest of my bedroom with furniture from the living room thrown all the way in the bedroom. I don't recognize this room anymore, but I know this is my house. This is the rug from the living room on top of the refrigerator in the kitchen. And that's the way it looked when we walked in, mold everywhere. Just everything really nasty. There's my computer that I left at home when I went on vacation. It was stuck to the countertop. I had 6 to 8 feet of water, and the mold took over everything going up the stairs. This is upstairs even. This is my mom's house. That's the side of it so that you can see. There was some construction going on across the street, and it was there. And my last slide, Cecil, and the last point that I want to make. Right now, our biggest struggle is to hold on to our land. And this was the plan for the future that was given to us. The green circles, my house is actually right inside of one of those green circles, where planners decided that New Orleans was a great place to rebuild sustainably and green, as if no one ever lived there. But what they wanted to do was to rebuild just certain sections, and those sections happened to not be where we lived. My father worked 3 jobs all of his life, a day job, a night job, and a weekend job, and he believed that the way out of poverty was through inheritance. What we have seen is all of our inheritance be taken away from us, or an attempt to take it away. And my word is, if I am the last man standing, I will fight to maintain the land that my ancestors left for me. Thank you.
I want to ask all of you to join me in giving our climate crisis vignettes another round of applause, please.